How's it going, everybody? This is the Nerdy Jock Talk. I'm the Nerdy Jock Nick Angle. Welcome back to another episode. Yes, NHL playoffs are happening. Things are going on in the Nerdverse. It's crazy. It's a great weekend. I'm so glad that you're here. Remember, hit that like button, smack that subscribe, help this channel out, and let's get into it. All right, first and foremost, I just want to let everybody know, if you are a fan of the old Xbox logo, you guys remember the original Xbox screen come online and a kind of cool little graphic? Well, that is back actually for the Series X and Series S only. Yes. So if you got one of the new ones, you got a really cool background. Just a fun little fact. All right, on to some big news. Part 1 of Kevin Smith's Masters of the Universe Revelations is coming out July 3rd. That's right. It's Masters of the Universe, baby. It's He-Man. It's I Have the Power of Grayskull. Man, I'm actually pretty stoked for this. It was a cartoon that I loved. I will say this, girls, you guys had a Barbie that you had to look at. If you have ever picked up a He-Man action figure and looked at it, I mean, he had muscles on muscles, and as a kid, you were just like, I'm never going to look like this. So, not to compare the two, but yeah, it was a ridiculous show. Always never understood why nobody could figure it out, but yeah, it's going to be, I think it's going to be really good. I'm excited. I have lofty expectations, so hopefully they are met. Also on July 23rd, I didn't even know this was a thing, but Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins is going to be released in theaters, apparently. Yeah, I didn't even know that they were making it. I didn't know I was really hoped they were done with G.I. Joe, but I guess not. I guess they're just going to keep going with it. Sure. I mean, it looks neat. I'm a Snake Eyes fan, so yeah, I got nothing. All right. Dave Bautista is in the news for a couple of things, actually. One, he has now said that he's pretty much done with Marvel after Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Quite frankly, I don't think he liked the direction that they took Drax the Destroyer in, and he does feel that there's more of a story to be told with Drax the Destroyer. 100%. I mean, you can't argue that. There, in the comic books themselves, there is a much bigger story to Drax, and I think they got away from it. They touched on it a little bit in the first movie, but as the story kind of kept going, he became more of a punchline. And to be fair with it, I actually kind of look at that the same way I looked at Gimli in The Lord of the Rings, is that he eventually became more of a punchline than he did an actual hero, and there was really more to that story than was being told. So he did say that he would like Marvel to recast him and make an origin story with Drax the Destroyer. I get it, and you kind of see where his head's at. I mean, he's a bit of a nerd, right? So if you don't believe me, he went in to a WB meeting. I guess he said he got a chance to meet with WB, went in, they wanted to talk Fast and the Furious. He's like, nah, I want to talk about Gears of War, and I want to play Phoenix. And it's like, okay, big Gears of War fan, awesome. So we'll see if that goes anywhere, but that's really cool for Dave Bautista to be like, no, we're not talking Fast and the Furious action movie, bunch of lunatics, no characters, just stupid cars. Yeah, no, I want to talk about a video game. Cool. Awesome. Dave Bautista, 2 thumbs up. Okay, so in Resident Evil news, I know I had brought it up the other episode, but now there's a little bit of controversy coming with this massive game release that apparently just keeps breaking records left, right, and center. There has been a director that has come forward and actually said that a lot of his monsters were basically ripped off for the game, and not even just like one, but like a few, like I want to say like 3 or 4. And they are not that far off. Like when you look, this director was talking to Eurogame. This is all courtesy of IGN. So he made a movie in 2013 called Frankenstein's Army, and yeah, there's a bunch of monsters that look pretty similar, if not identical. And even the settings for where the monsters are found is pretty close. The big one being this one here with a monster with a propeller for a head. There's a couple others, and I'm going to throw them up as we're sort of talking here. But yeah, it was... it's unfortunate because after watching the game, and I wanted to do sort of a review on it today, the game itself, I think, story-wise and visually, it is just a really... it's a great story. It's very compelling. The visuals are awesome. I think these are some of the best visuals that Resident Evil has had. But now with this, and it's kind of blatant rip-offs for at least one section of the game. Yeah, I don't know. It feels a bit lazy. And what's funny is that I was going to say that about some of the aspects of the game that just felt a little bit lazy. A lot of the gun sounds, they don't seem to ring out like actual gun sounds. They're like the sound design itself seems very flat, and I feel like even the actual, without giving out any spoilers, the actual the ending of the game, I don't know, it felt lazy. There was a definite feel of laziness in this game, and now with these allegations coming out, and pretty founded allegations from what I'm seeing, yeah, you kind of feel the whole thing. It's just some things felt really lazy about this game, so it's unfortunate. Oh, guys, man, Castlevania is back on Netflix. The last chapter of this. I have a love-hate relationship with Castlevania. I love the story. I love the animation. I hate the fact that it is so short in its episodes. I feel like it's not enough. I want more of it. And I felt like they could have flushed out a lot of the story. And yeah, I know it feels like a large movie kind of cut up into a couple of sections, but there's so much more there, and I wanted to see more of it. But it's here. It's finally going to end. We're gonna get the last bit of the story. Hopefully, it's not too short. But it's a great show. If you haven't seen it, by all means, now you get to watch the whole thing from start to finish, which I am very envious of. But it's really cool. It's a bit gory, but if you're into that sort of animation, if you're into the story of Castlevania, I know I play the game, so yeah, awesome. For you Critical Role fans out there, Ukatoa by Darrington Press is finally coming out May 27th. It's a board game. It's a nautical adventure where you're on a ship that is slowly being torn apart by Ukatoa, and you're kind of semi-cooperative, so you're kind of trying to figure it out. You might be pushing some people overboard at the same time. I'm excited to get this game. I'm going to put in for it and hopefully get myself a copy, and then we're going to play test it, and I'll give you guys a review on it as well. But it, being a fan of Critical Role and having this come out, fantastic. They also wrote a little sea shanty that goes with it, so you can definitely check that out. I'll link that in the description below. But yeah, it looks like a cool game. I like those games that have a little bit of theme to them. There's a tie-in, obviously, with Critical Role and a little bit of nautical. I love nautical games. Anything to do with pirates and ships and things like that, I'm a huge fan of. So we'll see. We'll see how it all goes down. And I think from what it looks like, it's kind of one of those games that's pretty quick. So you can play it a few different times and, probably make a whole bunch of people in your family upset with you all at once. So it looks really cool, and I can't wait to try it. On to the sports world, guys. Baseball is fun to watch again. Oh, man, I am loving baseball, mostly because the scene here in Toronto, the Jays are not actually playing here, unfortunately. But they are playing down south. They're playing in Florida, and they're playing at other teams' parks in America. I mean, they're just fun to watch again. Guys, they are 7 of their last 10. They are back into second place. Everybody who was worried about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. being in some kind of slump. 3 home runs in the last 3 games. Yeah, this dude is on a tear. Just, oh man, what a great team to watch. I at least I think it's fun to watch again because you got some skin in the game. You know, you've got a team in there that you're watching. But the rest of baseball, too, I've been able to watch a few games. Bauer the other day was just absolutely dealing. Like I said with Tatis, I think he's out now with COVID. But, you know, watching him just go to work, there's a definite shift in baseball, and I'm enjoying that shift. I like where it's going, and quite frankly, right now the Jays are doing better than the Cubs, and that's a big deal because I got a bunch of family down there who are all big Cubs fans. Some of them I'm a little suspect of. It's like they moved to Chicago and became Cubs fans as opposed to being Cubs fans ahead of time, but it's okay. Yeah, you know, they won that World Series and they just, you know, they've been gloating the last little bit. So now that the Jays are doing better than them, I mean, I guess maybe they're in a rebuild or something like that because, you know, baseball is just that way. Okay, guys, everybody in Toronto, we can all just take a break from basketball. The Raptor season is finally over. Sweet Jesus. You know what? I will say this. It was really hard to get into basketball this year because it wasn't in the city and because they were having a rough go. I do think if they were here, they probably could have won a few more games. Maybe they would have made it into that play-in. But, you know what? Like I said earlier, I think this is probably the best thing that could have happened to them where they just start again, retool. I don't think it's a full teardown. I think they got a couple pieces there. They've got a core that they can work with. It's going to be unfortunate if it is Lowry's last game, but I don't think they're going to be out of this for long. I think there's definitely some room to grow, but at least this season is done, and we can forget about it, and we can move on and get on with our lives, because this was rough, and I don't really want to see that stuff happen all over again. So hopefully that's it. Guys, what a weekend for the hockey playoffs. I got my my playoff preview out, you know, not too long ago, so I know that this is all kind of wonky, but what a weekend of playoff hockey. 3 of the first games go into overtime. The last one, I mean, what a spectacle. I will say this, you know, people are going to watch that preview and then watch those last couple games and be like, oh, you're wrong. Yeah, you know, things happen. Quite frankly, I don't think the Pens should have lost that game, but you know, their goaltending did not hold up, but I think they are still a motivated team. But that was one series I was a bit on the fence about, but I think the Pens will still probably pull that out. With the Vegas loss, not much that Marc-Andre can really do there. I think Vegas has to press a little bit more, and I think they gave Minnesota a bit too much room to work. The last one, though, Florida and Tampa Bay. I know everybody was talking about, you know, Kucherov being back and Stamkos being back. Other than the 3 power play goals that they scored, I didn't really see much impact from at least Kucherov and, for the most part, Stamkos. So if Florida can stay out of the box, I think they dominated that game 5-on-5. And or at least for the most part. Florida needs to be disciplined moving forward. If they stay out of that box, I think they've got that series wrapped up. I just think that Florida's got them. All right, guys. The last thing on here is Game of the Week. That's right. Game of the Week. Game of the Week. It's the Game of the Week, everybody. I've done some, the other games of the week, I've done some cooperative games. This one's a little bit different. This game of the week is Rising Sun from Games. Rising Sun is a area control game, 3 to 5 players. Yes, it's not cooperative, but what I really like about it is that it's a game that keeps everybody engaged. Whereas some games, especially when you get into area control, a lot of people can kind of zone out. This game here, I think, does a really good job of keeping people at the table engaged in what's happening in the game. Now, the game of Rising Sun, it takes place in feudal Japan, where politics and war and undercutting and all these kind of little maneuvers, you know, they really add up. What's really cool about the game is you make alliances, you break alliances, you are the leader of a great clan, and you call upon the ancient gods of Japan to come and help your warriors in the battle when diplomacy has failed. And the battle is really all that you have left. Really, just a really cool game. Again, I'm a big sucker for atmosphere and for theme in a game, and this is just dripping with it. So it's a great game. It sort of plays off of my love of Risk with a real interest in Japan and its culture. It's just, man, it's got a lot of things that I really like. And like I said, it keeps people engaged. So if you're interested in it, go check it out. 3 to 5 players. All right, guys, that's it for me this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, hit that like button, smack that subscribe. It really helps, guys. I'm really trying to just grow this channel and get it into a cool space, if you will. And we'll see where it all goes. But for now, guys, remember, it's always game time. Let's go, baby!